Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn on, and then I'll start talking once I feel as if we have enough people, okay?
Sure thing.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the first day of Sidoti's May conference. My name is Daniel Harriman. I'm an analyst here at Sidoti. To close out our first day this afternoon, we're going to hear from Innovation Beverage Group, ticker IBG. We're lucky enough to hear from the company's CEO today, Sahil Berry, all the way from Sydney, Australia. We're going to give Sahil about 20 minutes to go through the presentation, after which time I'm going to open it up for 10 minutes of Q&A. If you do have any questions at all during the 20-minute presentation, please feel free to type those into the Q&A box, and time permitting, we'll get to as many as we can. But please join me in welcoming Innovation Beverage Group. And with that, Sahil, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for the introduction, Daniel. Appreciate everyone's time. I want to quickly breeze through our presentation. As you can see on the first screen, we have a few product shots there. The, these products are our core focus for the next few years. So Australian Bitters Company is the flagship product for the company. And we have Bitter Tails, followed by Twisted Shake cocktails and Drummer Boy non-alcoholic spirit. So a bit about us and our mission. We're a developer, manufacturer, marketer of numerous alcoholic and non-alcoholic products. Currently have 70 formulations across 14 brands. Our main brands and our core focuses are Australian Bitters Company and Bitter Tails, Drummer Boy non-alcoholic spirits, Twisted Shake cocktails, and we can see some other brands we produce in-house. Our direct-to-consumer platforms include bevmart.com.au and drummerboy.com. So our mission is to expand our portfolio of our brands into the North American market and our bitters brand globally. That's going to be our core focus for 25, 26, and early 27 as well. If you look at our investment highlights, our vision is to scale into the North American market. We have powerful brands. We have great brand partnerships. We partner with Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific partners in Australia, and we have some distribution with RNDC in the US. We have strong margins. We have roughly 82% gross margins when we're selling Australian Bitters Company to distributors such as Coca-Cola in Australia. We have an experienced team and a great C-suite helping grow the business. It's a bit about the bitters global market. The global market for bitters total was roughly 4 billion in 2020. This has increased unofficially to roughly 5 billion as of 2024. Of this, cocktail bitters is approximately 800 to 900 million, which is the category we're playing in. One of our biggest competitors and one of the global leaders in this space is Angostura with their aromatic bitters. Just a couple of graphics to show you the size of global bitters markets. The US is the largest cocktail bitters market globally, followed by Australia and then Trinidad and Tobago. Australia's on the map because we have our national drink, which is the lemon lime bitters. It's part Sprite, lime cordial, and 6 to 8 dashes of bitters. So our business, Australian Bitters Company, I'm going to say this quite a lot through this presentation, is our flagship product. We have a great market share in Australia. In 2020, it was 20%. As of 2024, officially, it's 45% market share. And we have strong distribution relationships with Coca-Cola Europe Pacific partners. In the US, we're currently found in California, Hawaii, Alaska, Arizona, Oregon. We're working on another 6 or 7 states to be opened up by the end of the year. Bitter Tails, we created as a more premium offering to bidders. We really wanted to focus on the cocktail bartender and the big cocktail bars across the US. But the other reason was so we could attack Angostura on two different fronts. Australian Bitters Company comes in as the value proposition, and Bitter Tails comes in as a more premium offering. And to give you an example on price, Australian Bitters Company compared to Angostura would be at 95 CPI versus Bitter Tails, which is 110. Some of the medals we've won over the years, we've actually updated this. We've won Best in Show and Gold for our aromatic bitters at the LA Spirits competition in 2025, sorry. And the remaining bitters flavors, we've had one gold. Bitter Tails has won gold and platinum for 2025 as well. We just don't have the infographic, the medal pictures yet. We'll update this shortly. Drum & Boy non-alcoholic spirits. This is our first jump into the non-alcoholic spirit space. It's an expanding market. In 2021, this is roughly a 9.9 billion global market. Unofficially, as of 2024, it's closer to 30 billion. And beer and wine are driving that growth in that category. Spirits is still growing year on year, but not as large as beer and wine. The main reason we jumped into this category, into the non-alcoholic space, in the spirits category for non-alcoholic, there's not a lot of players. You have people like Seedlip, which is owned by Diageo, and you have another group out of Australia called Lyre's, probably one of the leaders in the space. We have a great gross profit margin with it, roughly 80% in Australia. And because there's not a lot of players, it was a unique opportunity for us to jump into it. Twist Shake cocktails, our first bottled cocktail product that we've created. We currently have 5 different flavors across 2 bottle varieties. So we do a 200 ml and a 700 ml. This product is currently sold in Aldi Australia as a special buy. They buy it as a seasonal product 5-6 times a year. We're looking to expand that as a more yearly offering, not yearly off, sorry, a more ongoing offering. And we're looking to expand to other retailers in Australia. This product for the US market, we're looking to get co-packed towards the end of the year and have it produced in the US for the US market. Some of our direct-to-consumer channels. We currently have bevmart.com.au and drumandboy.com. Drumandboy.com is more of an educational site that doubles as an e-commerce site. It more to educate the end consumer about how to use the non-alcoholic spirits. So our spirit marketplaces, Bevmart Australia, we launched this in May 2021, mainly to showcase what we produce in-house. But there's a few areas we found it excelled really well in. One was to allow for quick testing of any new products, test the market for 4 to 6 months. And once some of these products that did well on bevmart.com.au, once they've proven themselves, we knew we could put the marketing spend behind it and grow the product into retail. And a great example of this is Twist Shake cocktails. We launched this on Bevmart Australia first, and it did really well. We rebranded the packaging, and launched into retail. The other area that we found the spirit marketplace as well in, there's a lot of American products that aren't available to us in Australia. A great example of this is Virginia Black in the background. This is Drake's whiskey, created in 2018, 2019. Numerous years it wasn't available to us in Australia. We were the first people to launch with this in Australia. Launched on the website, it did extremely well. We're now at a stage where retailers are reaching out to us, wanting to stock this product. Some of our brand partnerships over the years, working with Coca-Cola Europe Pacific partners in Australia, and especially our national drink being Lemon Lime Bitters, Sprite and Australian Bitters Company was match made in heaven. Anywhere you see a Coca-Cola fountain or a Coca-Cola soda gun behind a bar, most likely will have Australian Bitters Company. And all these venues will have a lot of this point of sale throughout the venue. CCEP, or Europe Pacific partners in Australia, also sell the Beam Centauri range here in Oz, and which allowed us to partner with Maker's Mark during Old Fashioned Week. And we also do this as a gift pack a few times a year. I think Father's Day, Christmas, etc. Some of our distribution, retail, and on-premise partnerships. Coca-Cola, our distributor in Australia. Liquorland, Dan Murphy's, BWS are large retailers in Australia. Rockpool is a large on-premise partner. We have Aldi, where we're selling Twisted Shaker through. And RNDC is distributing this product in five states. So our distillery, it's the heart and soul of the company. We run this at the highest production standards, and we meet Coca-Cola's stringent requirements for production. Currently, our capacity is roughly 5,000 bottles a day. We do have some CapEx coming in. We've spent some CapEx. We have a new machine coming in. We should get this in the next 2 to 3 weeks. This will increase our capacity to roughly 10 to 15,000 bottles a day. All of this is on a single shift pattern. All of this on a single shift pattern where we can easily add more shifts to double, triple capacity as well. We're fully licensed. We have all FDA certifications, kosher compliance, all the import-export permits that we require. And I can't stress enough, we have Coca-Cola European Pacific partners. We meet their requirements for production. We have all our licenses, especially in Australia. We have manufacturing, importation, exportation, underbond storage, and DTC licenses in Australia. In the US, we still do have our retail liquor license, but we are looking to sell this at the moment. And we have our import license for the US as well. Our manufacturing agreement with Coca-Cola Europe Pacific partners is till 2033. So we still have another 8 years on that contract. It's a bit about our business strategy. I'll leave this up for a few minutes. I'm sure there'll be some questions about this. So our management team, myself, I'm currently chief interim CEO and have 10 plus years experience in the beverage industry. Eric Yu is our CFO, over 15 years experience with the Big Four. Our latest hire is Genevieve Jodhan. She is currently our Chief Sales and Marketing Officer with over 28 years experience in building brands and being in the liquor industry. She was the ex-CEO of Angostura Holdings. She spent 15 years at that company, all starting in procurement, working her way up to export sales and marketing, and eventually being CEO. She left the company in 2021, or left Angostura in 2021, took a bit of a break, and I think everything lined up, and she's joined us October last year. So a bit about our financials. As you can see, we had solid growth between 2019 and 2022. 2023, there's a bit of a dip, and 2024 is still growing. The dip is related to our initial attempt for the IPO was in 2022. Unfortunately, we didn't get the IPO done that year. Just the bankers couldn't complete it, and also Nasdaq closed its books end of 2022 for approximately 6 months, which caused a lot of losses for us for that year. But as you can see, losses from 22 to 23 have halved, and we're tracking in the right direction. That's pretty much everything from me. I'm sure we'll now open up Q&A.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Shahil. As a reminder, if you do have any questions, we have some extra time now, so please go ahead and type those into the box, and we should be able to get to quite a few here. Um, a few have come in already, but Sahil, I just wanted to start. And you kind of had this slide up just for a minute, but if the next phase of growth for the company is to increase distribution in North America,
Yeah.
what is your strategy to get that done, as you make that a top priority for 2025?
So for 2024, especially for the North American market, Genevieve's leading the charge there, and she's identified roughly 12, 13 states in the US that we believe are key states for the US market. Um, Once we have these 12, 13 states opened up, we have a huge marketing push, which is starting in July this year. We're actually doing let's say a soft launch at Tales of the Cocktail, which is a large cocktail convention in New Orleans. Roughly 30, 40,000 bartenders descend to New Orleans for a week. We're doing a lot of tastings, etc. I believe that will be a catalyst for the brand for the US market. Um, Once we have these states online and we have our marketing in place, uh, we believe we believe we believe we'll get once we get these states online, we have our marketing in place, we increase sales. The plan is to increase sales in those 12, 13 states, which will trickle down for the remaining US markets.
Perfect. Okay, thanks. And then just kind of a simpler one here. Can you kind of break down how much of your revenue comes from e-commerce versus, otherwise?
E-commerce at the moment, BevMart Australia is probably contributes maybe 5 to 7% of our revenue. The bulk of our
Okay.
revenue does come from our own brands, especially bitters.
Yep. Are you looking to grow, your e-commerce presence over time as well? Obviously, you've got quite a few things going on in 2025, but is that kind of a plan also to grow the e-commerce channel?
I think for the Australian market, yes, we're always striving to grow that e-commerce market here. Um, but in the US, we did have US marketplaces that we are now currently divesting and moving on from, because our core focus is going to be growing our own brands, such as Australian Bitters Company, Bitter Tales, and Twisted Shaker.
Okay, perfect. Um, and then when it comes to spending,
Mhm.
over the next year, do you guys have, capital projections that you're gonna, what you need to spend on? And then along the same time, are you going to need to go to market or how are you going to finance that growth?
So for CapEx, capital expenditure for, let's say, plant equipment, I think what we've already purchased in the last 6 months will actually it'll be enough to cover us until we see some really solid growth in the US. Um, I think the next bit of expenditure will be around. I think most of our expenditure will be around marketing while we're growing into key countries like the US. We're looking to grow into the UK and European markets as well. In terms of requiring more funds, I think we'll be fine for 2025, unless we do have a couple of acquisition targets that we're exploring at the moment. On the back of that acquisition, if something does pass DD and audits, we'll go to the market to raise funds for that acquisition. Otherwise, I don't see us needing to raise too much money for 2025, maybe 26 onwards.
Perfect. And then you kind of briefly mentioned this, and if you can't talk about it, that's completely fine. But you mentioned interim CEO. Does the company have a path or a plan for either you to take over or somebody within the industry to take that seat in the near future?
Yeah, we are exploring. I've put out feelers and looking for the right candidate. I would like to have a full-time CEO in place. For myself, I'm happy to go back to operations and product development and innovation, while we have a CEO has a really big growth mindset and has a lot more experience than I do for the public markets.
Do you think that's something that will happen this year?
I'm aiming to get it done second half of this year, most likely Q4.
Okay,
But I need to find the right candidate. We need someone steering the ship, then I need to find the right person. If that extends into early 2026, then so be it.
perfect. So the hope is eventually you can get back into operations. Might just take a little bit longer than you'd like.
That's it. If I can get back to my lab and start back into NPD, that'd be great.
Yeah. Um, couple finance questions, if you can answer those for us. At a high level, can you kind of break down what the margin profile of the alcoholic versus non-alcoholic drinks are?
Yeah, of course. Look, for alcoholic, bitters, while it's an alcoholic product, it's considered a non-alcoholic product in most markets. So there's no excise tax to be paid on bitters. For bitters, we roughly have 82%. For something like Twisted Shaker and some of our gin and vodka brands that we produce in-house in Australia, we're sitting closer to maybe 40%. Drummer Boy non-alcoholic spirit has anywhere between 70 to 80%, depending on which distributor and which avenue we're taking to sell that product.
Perfect. And then again, another kind of high
Mhm.
level, if you could just give us an idea of how much revenue do you think you need to generate in the near term in order to kind of at least break even from an operating income level?
I think if we can achieve another, ideal scenario, 1.4 million with the margin products like bitters, 1.4 million will get us to break even, if not very close to break even. This is just some modeling that's been done by our CFO.
Do you think that becomes all the more possible if you succeed in distributing within North America with those 12, markets that you've identified?
It is very possible for those 12 markets. I think if we can get the US 12 states up and running by the end of the year, we're exploring some markets in Europe in the UK and some markets in Asia. I think combination of all three or four markets, it's fairly achievable for 2025.
That was going to be my next question, was just North America is a priority right now, but then, as you just mentioned, after that, it would be distribution within the UK and then also Asia.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then a couple maybe difficult questions, but just any impact that you can recognize from the new global trade environment and tariffs in particular? And then, at a high level, what do you see as the biggest risk to, achieving your 2025 targets of distribution within North America, as well as some of the other things that we've discussed?
Look, I'll start with the tariffs question. That's been one question that's been asked plenty of times. Uh, at the moment, the only product that we see having some impact is bitters, but we're very fortunate enough here in Australia that our tariffs are only 10%. It's a cost we can share between ourselves and the end consumer, so it can be spread
Hmm.
out. It doesn't need to be just the end consumer who pays the full 10%. Um, any other products, things like Drummer Boy and Twisted Shaker cocktails, it makes sense for us just to bottle that product in the US market for the US market so we can avoid tariffs there. Bitters is a product I don't think I'll ever have a co-packer make. It's just, our secret recipe. It's the first product that I created. I think it's best if we leave that production in-house in Australia. Risk-wise, look, I think some risks that are always going to be issues is procurement, shipping, etc. That's probably one of our biggest risks, especially post-COVID. We've had some issues bringing in products or bringing in raw material into Australia to produce the bitters, especially dry herbs that we kind of
Yeah.
import from all over the world.
Okay, perfect. And then on one of the slides with the financials earlier, you talked about the difficulty that the company had in maybe late 2022 into
Mhm.
2023. And you said that 24 and now into 25 things are trending in the right direction. Do you have updated financials for 2024 to kind of give us an idea of of what it looks like, or is that not been made public yet?
They're made public. We filed our 20F last week, Friday. So they're all
Okay.
available online. The
Okay.
updated financials and high level from my end, like our revenue in 23 was 3.1. We are now at 2.9, but that's also divesting Wide for Wine and the US BevMart USA completely. It's the e-commerce channels where we're moving away from the US market. Uh, Bitters has grown. Uh, it's 23 to 24. So there is growth there. Um, Losses, look, on paper, there's a lot of high losses, but a lot of these are comprised of IPO expenditure, and one-off expenses. But the net losses are getting better year on year. So I think for 25, if we can achieve our revenue targets, I think we'll be closer to break even, if not at break even.
Perfect. And then if let's say you get a CEO this year or in early 2026 and you get to put your operations hat back on, from a mixology standpoint or
Mhm.
doing what you like to do, what opportunities do you see for the company in terms of potential drinks in the future, different ways of operating, that you might be excited about?
I think for 25 and beyond, it depends on the trends. There is a few areas for there are a few areas that I think are coming back into the scene. So like whiskey's had its moment. Uh, as everyone's seen, gin had a huge explosion. Like it's there are other categories. I think the next one will be rum. That's my gut telling me. So we just got to stay ahead of the curve and see what the trends are and just jump on them early on. Um, I think if I can do some work in rum, I think that could be the next exciting category that really booms.
In North America and in the United States, and I don't have the specific numbers, but in recent years, we've seen the onslaught of, non-alcoholic beer or non-alcoholic spirits really taking significant market share, versus the alcoholic drinks. Are those similar patterns that you're seeing in Australia and maybe also in some of the other markets you're looking to go into?
Yeah, we definitely did. That's one of the reasons we jumped into the category. Non-alcoholic beer and wine have been growing significantly in the last 2 to 3 years. Spirits had the initial boom. It's tapered off a little bit, but it's still growing slowly. It's slower than something like the beer and wine. I think the next category, part of the spirits, would be non-alcoholic cocktails. When we have a great vehicle with Twist Shaker, we could easily introduce a range, a non-alcoholic range for that. Um, but there are some certain key markets where non-alcoholic does a lot better than other key markets. European markets are a bit more open to non-alcoholic. The US market's growing rapidly. So
Hmm.
I mean, non-alcoholic US and probably European markets is where we're going to be focusing on.
Perfect. We're about up on time. I was going to ask you an R&D question, but we can save that for another time. But on behalf of Sidoti and on behalf of everybody that attended, Sahil, thank you so much for sharing, IBG's story and where your focus is going to be for 2025 and beyond. And we hope that you're able to get somebody into that CEO seat so you can get back to doing what you like to do. And for all of you in the audience, thank you so much for your participation today and the questions. And we were able to get to all of them, which is great. But Sahil, thank you so much for your time today and sharing y'all's story. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me, Daniel, and thank you for Sidoti to organizing such a great conference.